The question I'd ask you is, what do you feel? I would ask you to do two things. To take a moment and just kind of breathe with the question, and then to answer the first thing that kind of comes into your mind. So when I
Okay.
ask the question, just take a second, and then whatever the first thing is, boom, that's the answer. And so it would be, what do you feel is blocking you from getting the opportunity for a relationship like that?
Myself.
Is
It's like
that
the
is
first
it
thing.
just myself, me?
Yeah, like maybe it's like my being of like everything's my fault, for better or worse.
Okay.
That's the first thought.
Okay. So it's what is your fault?
Mm, it's my fault for not committing, I think is a word I want to use. Yeah.
Okay. What does committing mean?
So when I think about it, I feel like in the two situations you mentioned with the Aquino and with Aerith Girl,
Mm-hmm.
in both those situations, I had a strong desire to commit, but it was not reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm fucking up because I'm not creating a scenario that makes women want to commit to me. I'm good at making scenarios where they want to hook up with me. That's fine. But having a woman commit to me is a very different thing.
So hearing you say this actually punctures my thing, because the way in which you said it is something that I've told myself. And then when I heard you say it, I'm like, that's not true at all. That's a fabricated story that doesn't have a lot of weight, even though my emotional experience of it makes me believe it has a shit ton of weight. In the sense that you say it's your fault that you haven't done the right things to make someone want to commit to you. And especially me knowing you, I can tell you right now that's not true, because what you're not taking into consideration in the equation is all the women that wanted to commit to you that you said no to.
Exactly. So you're right. That's true. That's true.
It's like this small list of people that you wanted to commit to, and then there's like list of girls that would be like, I would have committed to him.
Yeah.
And that's not something to discount. That's not
Right.
something to just throw away. Because that is a reflection of your not worthiness, but like people do want to connect with you. You're just judging, well, it's only worth it if I want to do it to them. Right? Like that's the
Right.
disconnect here. It's
Right.
like, well, I wanted that. I didn't want this. So that's nothing there. And we all do that. We all do that. I've done that. Fuck, we all done it.
Yeah. So that's true. That's true. Um, that's fair.
So in an effort of reassurance though, too, with that, it's also not entirely your fault, right? You're talking about a small sample there.
Mhm.
I would say, yes, it's your fault. No, it's not worth judging yourself and putting a thumb on you over the experience. That's what I'd say.
Mhm.
Yes, it's your fault, but it's not worth any judgment on it. Like that the thumb kind. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When you hold
And that's
yourself
like the
down.
dilemma I have with myself, right? It's like, no, I can't do backwards. Can't do that. Gotta go this way.
Hmm.
Because even when you say that, I'm reminded that the most recent partner I had, which was actually Maya's friend, she wanted to commit.
Yeah,
And I
yes,
basically
yes.
was like, no.
You're like, no, no. And yeah. So I guess just rehashing that, I would say there's nothing wrong with saying no. It's probably better that you said no to all those. I would
Yeah.
say moving forward, what the question I'd have is, What do you think you could do subtly, small, to be more open to? That's not the right question either. I'll go back to it. So what does committing mean to you?
Give you an example. So you mentioned before, because you were in a 7-year relationship, but the
Yeah.
relationships I had, comparatively, I think we would agree that they've been surface level. Comparatively.
Yeah.
A fun example, actually, when I was hanging out with these people at the uh, water, river floating, is that the lady was like saying, like, I've never been in a, she was saying that it was her first time being in a real relationship. And what that meant to her was that because of her experiences, she felt like she was in a fantasy relationship before, where she would see her boyfriend on the weekends. They would always look pretty. They would like go out somewhere, maybe go to park, go to a movie, maybe just watch movies at home, whatever. But like it was very surface level ish. They liked
Mm.
each other a lot, but they when comparatively to the person she's with now, like she was like, yeah, I've never like pooped in front of somebody, like or like,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, that's a funny but true thing to think
It's
about.
such a true thing. It's such a true
Yeah,
thing.
and it's like, yeah, I've never done that. Like, I never had a woman do it in front of like with like around me, or they were all just like surface level things. They always like had like some sort of makeup on, um, or it was just very
Yeah.
surface level.
Not
Never,
all the, I would surface yes and no. It's just not all of the parts of them.
yeah, yeah. I'm not
It's
seeing
still them, but you're not
sure.
seeing enough layers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've never had that
Mm.
layers pulled apart. Um, Another thing, I had another thought and I lost it. It'll come back to me. So to
You talking about pooping in front of people?
no, it was more about like what was the question again? It was about what's
What does
commitment?
commitment mean to you? Yeah.
Yeah. So part of why I brought that story up is like that I think was part of what commitment means. Like I want to be willing to like poop in front of people, like around someone, just like be comfortable with it. I'm like, yep, like
Yeah.
that's a standard. Like that would be nice. Um,
Okay. So that's a part of what commitment would mean to you is
because I think it's not that like, pooping is anything special, but it's like revealing the
it's
layers.
a vulnerable part.
It's a
Yeah, for
horrible
sure.
thing. Um,
So yeah, I could tell you this. It's funny because when I really like someone, I go really quickly. The
mm,
poop thing is funny, is because I will purposely actually push that forward. Specifically that, pooping in front of people.
really,
I tend to not I'll poop in front of them. It's not a problem. But I'll do it where they're pooping in front of me, like with Maya. I did it real quick. But it's because I'm not judging them and I'm okay with it. And it gives them the experience of getting into that experience where they can let that guard down. They can be vulnerable. They can do that with another person and feel that connection. Because it doesn't bother me any. I did 7 years with Tui. Tui would make a joke all the time. She's like, "Who the fuck poops with the door closed?" or something like that. And she'd always poop like with the door open. Like she'd make it a joke. Like it was funny. It was actually really funny. But I actually and I did it with Tui when we first started dating, I think. But I wouldn't say rush, but I purposely move towards that comfortability with the person. Because when I find someone I really like and I know that I'm like interested in them for long-term stuff, I know the type of little things that are going to matter in a long-term situation. And so I
yeah.
immediately start engaging in those activities to
So
see what
though
will
that's
happen.
what I don't know. Though
Hmm.
the greatest mysteries of all of our universe is you don't know what you don't know.
I don't know. Yep. Yep.
And like so that's like a thing that I'm not familiar with.
Hmm.
I don't know what little tricks would be involved In that,
So like you'll so just spending more you might know more than you think. So who is that girl? Super hot, but she had a kid and she did a little like she was like a cosplayer.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Her name, Misery
Misery.
is, yeah,
So how long did you ever spend like more than one day at her place with her?
more than a day.
More than a day, like a whole day.
Yeah. No. I think I tapped out at like a day. I think.
Okay. So no longer. Okay, okay.
I'm trying to recall. I don't think we spent more than a single 24 hours together.
Okay. But you have done that with other dating partners. Spend consecutive days with a person?
Now that I think about it, I don't think I have.
Interesting.
I never spent more than 24 hours with like a single person, a single woman, like I was in
There you
partner with.
go. There you go. That's literally as simple as it is right there. So yeah, you would literally you don't have to worry or think about anything else. Just to the act of spending, making it an effort to try and spend longer than 24 hours with a person will open up different doorways and different experiences that you've never had before.
No, that's a lie. I've spent more than 24 hours with friends, female friends. That doesn't really count. I never with a partner.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be with someone you're dating that you're intimate
Yeah, yeah.
with like a
Think
like
about
has a
like
sexual experience with.
a road trip I went on 2 years ago with my friend, uh,
Mm,
and
hmm.
we're sleeping in the car together,
Yeah,
sleeping in the hotels together. Like we didn't
yeah,
like we're not romantic. We're just
yeah.
friends.
Little different because it's female. It's still you get something out of it, but yeah, it's got to be someone you're dating and interested in.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned. I never thought about it, but yeah, you're right. I don't think I've ever spent like a full on like 24, 48 hours with a single person I've ever dated. It's always just
Yeah.
like go for dinner, invite
Yep.
me over for sex,
Yep.
uh, hang
Maybe
out.
sleep over and leave in the morning at the
Yeah,
longest. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Or just hang out, do
Mhm.
activity,
Yeah.
but never like a full 24 or 48 hours.
That'd be the change that you could try.